In this session, let us understand the first loops in Java, that is while statement. So what do you mean by while statement? While is the first simple loop statement in Java. Let us first look at the syntax of while statement. So the syntax of the while statement is very simple. It looks exactly like your normal if statement. So while of the condition, then you have a set of statements. What do you mean by this, or how it will work? So here also we are using condition, right? So within while parenthesis, you have to pass the condition. The condition always should be evaluated to a boolean value, either true or false. So what do you mean by this is, first the condition will be evaluated to true or false. So if it is true, then it will enter into while block and execute the code. So until the given condition is true, the while loop will continue executing the code that what you write inside your while block. So looking at the syntax is very simple. Let us try understanding while programmatically.
Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Monk, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together.
To demonstrate that, let me create a new Java class and I'm giving this class name as while test, or you can give whatever the name. So just I'm selecting the main method. Okay, now let me first write the syntax of while. So the syntax of while looks something like this. You pass the condition, right, or expression, whatever, and then you have a code to execute and closing while. So what does it mean? While the given condition is true, you execute this code repeatedly. So here, how many number of times this code should be executed will depend on the condition. So till the condition is evaluated to false, this code will repeatedly execute. So looking that is very simple, but applying it practically, you should be very cautious of using while statement. So let us understand that with a very simple example. Suppose you want to print numbers, right, from 1 to 10. This is one of the basic example to understand while how it functions or how it is going to work internally, right? Suppose you want to print 1 to 10. So usually you cannot do like this, right? I just want to print 1 or 2 or 10, like you can print it like this, but that is not going to be the solution for it, right? So you don't write SOP statements to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Suppose if somebody asks you to print 1 to billion, so what do you do? Do you write 1 billion SOP statements? No. But what actually the logic behind it? See, we need to print a number, right? The number starts from 1 and ends with the 10, and every time it will be incremented by 1. So that is what is basically the logic. Now here you are printing this, means what? The print statement, you are executing it 10 times, right? I want to execute this system.out.println 10 times, but 10 times it is not going to be the same data. Every time the data is different. So the data will start from 1, then will be incremented, next time it will be 2, next time it will be incremented 3 or something like that. So how you basically do that? Means I just need a data here which basically should be 1 initially and should be incremented every time. So in this case what I have to do? I have to take a variable whose value is 1 first and then increment it every time. So that is how you basically write the program. So this is basically the solution. So how you do this? So now I'm just deleting this. Now what I do, first let me take a byte number. Okay, now here I'm just taking 1 to 10, so I'm taking byte. Suppose you're printing some millions and all, so you know what is the appropriate data type to select. So now I'll say byte number is equal to 1, right? Now suppose, can I print this sout number? So now when I run this, what basically happens? This will print me number 1, right? So it's very simple. I just initialize a variable and then I printed it. But do I need to print this number 1 only? No, I need to execute this statement repeatedly. How many number of times? 10 times. Till this number is less than or equal to 10, I need to keep on executing this. So how do you do that? you have to write while here because it's a loop. We are going to execute this statement 10 times. So now what is the condition here? The condition is number less than or equal to 10. So when I say this, I want to execute this. So now I want to put it within the curly braces. So now if you look at this, now byte number 1 less than or equal to 10. So what is the value of number 1? 1 less than or equal to 10. The condition is true. So since the condition is true, it will enter into while block and prints this system.out.println number. So now here I'll get 1. Now after it reaches end of while, again it goes to the condition. And what is the value of number? Number is 1 only. So again the condition is true. So it will print 1. Then it will end of while. So again it goes here. So the number is 1 only. So what actually happens here? The loop will continue n number of times, infinite number of times. So it doesn't stop the execution, it will continuously loop. So let us try understanding this by running this. So whenever I run this, you can see this, it is now going to print 1 1 1 1 1 continuously. You see why? Because this is an infinite loop. So a very important point here for beginners. So whenever you use loops, you should be so careful. So the loop should terminate after a number of iterations. So how do you basically stop this? So now you have a red button here to stop. Just click on this so that it will terminate your program. And now how do you basically see? This is not I want to increment this data every time so that after this condition fails, it will stop executing. So what I do here, I'll just simply say number plus plus, right? So I'll increment it every time by 1 because it should be from 1 to 10, right? So now every time I need to increment. Now in this case, what actually happens? When 1 less than or equal to 10 true, it will enter and it will print 1. Then 1 will be incremented. So 1 will become 2. 2 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true in the second iteration. So it will print 2. Then it will become 3. Then again it will go to the condition 3 less than or equal to 10 true. Then it prints 3. Then it will become 4. 4 less than or equal to 10. It prints 4. Then it will become 5. So like that it will continue loop. So once it becomes 10. 10 less than or equal to 10, it is true, so it will print 10 and then 10 will become 11. Now 11 less than or equal to 10 condition false. So the moment the condition is false, it will terminate this while loop. A very important point here, right? So now let me just run this to demonstrate. Now what basically happens here? Now you see I got just 1 to 10 and then the loop is terminated. So very important point. So whatever the condition that you pass should be evaluated to false after a number of iterations. So I want to print descriptively. So what I can do here, I'll say number, right, plus number. So it will just print number 1, 2, 3 or something like that. Suppose I want to print alternative numbers. So from 1 to 10 alternative numbers. So 1, next 3, then 5. So what I can do instead of this number plus plus, so what I can do number plus equals to 2 because I need to increment it with 2 times. Now guys, understanding loops will take some time, but you should understand the step-by-step execution. How you understand this? So now the first byte number 1, then execute this 1 less than or equal to 10 true. So it prints number, so we'll get 1. And after this 1 plus equals to 2, this is a compound assignment operator. So number will become 3. Now then when it reaches end, it goes here 3 less than or equal to 10, that is true. So then it will print 3. Then 3 will become 5. 5 less than or equal to 10 true, it prints 5. Next 7, prints 7. Then 9, prints 9. Then it will become 11. 11 less than or equal to 10, condition false. So it will come out of your while loop. So now let me run this just to see what is the output I'll get. So I'll just get alternative numbers. Just nothing but printing only odd numbers. So somebody asks you to print, hey, can you print odd numbers from 1 to 10? What do you do? Right? So simply you increment it by 1, or there is a different scenario of printing odd numbers or even numbers. Okay, now let us see this with an example. Suppose I want to say print even numbers from 1 to 100. Or somebody asks you to print. So now we definitely know that we need to execute a logic here repeatedly to check number is an even number or not, right? So right from 1 to 100, to execute. So in this case, what you do? In this case, what you do is I first define, right? So since I'm taking the number, so the maximum number I'm just going to initialize it to 100, or maybe 100 I'm just going to say. So I'll just take number 1. So I'll say while number less than or equal to the upper limit. What is the upper limit here is 100. So suppose somebody asks you to print 100, you are taking 100. So if somebody asks you to take this as an input, again you can write scanner to take that number as an input and store that in a variable as the limit, right? So till what you need to have, so that value you can pass it here. So now while number less than or equal to 10. So now what is the logic or code to check if the number is even or not? So we know that what is an even number. If the number is divisible by 2, means what? If I'm remindering with 2, if the remainder is 0, then I can say it is a even number. So what I do, I will just print only the number. This is the even number, right? Else I don't need to print it. So that's why I'm not using any curly brace here, right? So just only this you print if this condition is true. Otherwise what I do, I just go to the next number. So if I have to go to the next number, what I do, I need to increment number plus plus. So first what actually happens, number will be 1 less than or equal to 100. This is true. This checks whether it is a even number or not. It is not an even number, so it doesn't print. It will go to the 2 less than or equal to 100, true. 2 remainder 2 is 0, so this is even number, so it will print. So then it will increment 3 is not an even number, 4 is an even number, so it will print. So I'm now going to print all the even numbers from 1 to 10. So now here I'm just writing an S out, a line separator, just to separate from that output to this output. Now let me run this to see what is actually happening. Now you see what happened. So it print all the prime number, all even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so till 100, right? Suppose if the same logic, if you want to execute to print odd numbers, what do you do? So you just simply change this to not equals to 0, right? So if it is not equal to 0, then it is going to be a odd number. So like this, you are executing this particular code repeatedly. That's the reason you have used this as a while statement. So guys, while is a very important loop which will be used to execute certain kind of a code repeatedly in a lot of situations.